Alone together, belong together, babe.
Marsha Ambrosius.
Hey.
Alone
Let
together.
me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. When we first started playing that song, people were surprised that Daly was a man.
A man. I'm thinking it was surprising that he was,
White.
a ginger-headed northerner from, was it? Oh, yeah. Nah. I don't know. Soul is soul. And I was unaware of him before recording the actual song. We'd met in New York at a studio, and everyone was like, oh, when you're from the same country.
I was going to say, he's from the UK as well, right?
But it would be like if you're in LA, such and such.
Right.
No, it's huge. Everybody doesn't know everybody. So I wasn't aware, went online, and I saw him do a Maxwell cover. And I was like, he can actually sing. So when you go into a studio, I usually write within the restraints of the person's talent. But with him, because he was so talented, my pen wasn't limited. I could just write a song. So once Kanai, the producer of the record, came up with those chords, it was kind of easy to do. And, Alone
So how
Together
did you
is a classic.
even hook up with Daly?
It was by ways of his manager. So his management reached out and said we were in New York, kind of, got our schedules together and booked a studio, and we recorded this song. It's crazy.
The song is hot.
It's lovely. It really is lovely. I love it still.
But in the song, you sing in a deeper register than he does. So
that was unintentional. Really, initially, I'd written the demo for him to have the song completely. So it was never supposed to be a duet. And then his Days and Nights album was complete, and they'd asked whether or not I wanted to make it a duet. So I was like, okay, I'll do verse 2, I guess. But I wrote them in 2 different registers. So I wanted to showcase his range because he was very well... He could do the verse 2 as well,
right,
vocally. But then, it just worked out the way it worked out.
Yeah, people were shocked. They're like, that's a man? Yeah, that's a man. That's a man. That's a man singing that song
Daly.
Along with Marsha. You talk about writing this song, so I'm going to move into your writing, and I'm going to hit what most people maybe know or not know is that you wrote Butterflies by Michael Jackson.
Did.
So how did you meet Michael Jackson?
Okay, so long story short, in 2000, around about August or September, I demoed a song called Butterflies. I'd written it 8 years prior. I was like 16 years old when I'd written this song. So yeah, like about 6 years prior. And I wrote it about a boy that worked at McDonald's in Camberwell that swept the floor, and he was fine. And he gave me butterflies. So that sparked the idea for the actual song. So fast forward to me being in Philadelphia with a touch of jazz and the producers down there. So Andre Harris, he'd produced Long Walk, The Way.
Those are Jill Scott songs.
For Music Soul Child. So I was like, I want to work with that guy. And once we hit the studio, I was like, look, I have these chords, I have this song in mind. Would you mind creating it with me? So we created the demo together, and that became Floetry's demo to get our deal. So when Floetry's demo was played to John McClain, who was personally managing Michael Jackson hears Butterflies and loves it and says, I want to work with her. I want to work with whoever wrote that song. I want to work with Floetry. But it was me who wrote it, but it was part of our package. So I was like, MJ, who's MJ? When someone says MJ wants to use your song, you're like, Melissa Jalagala? I don't know who MJ, like, it can't be Michael Jackson.
Mighty Clouds of Joy.
Right. So it turns out it's him. It's the one and only. It's the king of pop. It's everything that I'd been influenced by as a kid, and he's reaching out to me. So calls the studio and says, look, how can I be down? And it wasn't until March of the following year, 2001, that I'm invited to the Hit Factory in New York when it was in New York, and I'm telling Michael Jackson what to do.
He wanted your instruction and your direction. He wanted to know. One thing that a lot of people say about you is that when you get in the studio, you know how to arrange music vocally really well. Do you acknowledge that talent that you have?
Yeah, I do, because I embody whoever it is that I'm working with. And with Michael, I mean, I had to put on my game face and get ready as a 22, 23-year-old girl, black girl from Liverpool, England, having to tell the King of Pop what to do. But I was there for a reason. I was there because he loved my song, and by ways of his instruction, he told me, look, I want this to be the greatest song that you want it to be. So show me how. Tell me how to do this. So every word, every lyric, every
Give
melody.
me an example, Marsha Ambrosius,
Yes.
of what you told Michael Jackson to do. Like, just give me a moment in that studio, in that sound booth.
Okay.
You said do this, he did what? Like,
okay, so he's in the sound booth. The first thing he does behind that glass, I'm behind this giant soundboard with a clicker in my hand, and I click and I say, Mike, just give me one take just for your levels so I can kind of hear where you are vocally, because he did like an hour warm-up prior to even getting into the booth, which is telling because no one does that.
Right, I'm like, an hour? What is his warm-up?
Had someone playing the piano doing scales, and it'd be la da 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 da.
So Michael was doing scales for an entire hour,
getting himself together, because we were going to be in there until it was done. And such a professional, but so humble. Like, you're Mike. He could have came late. He could have not practiced and be like, what's up? What you need? All right, cool. And I'd have been okay with that. It's Mike.
Right.
But he gets in the booth and he does this finger snap that was like, it was like he was a machine. It almost wasn't, I don't know how that sound came from his fingers. It sounded like a beat machine. And then the first thing he sang was, butterflies. The first ad lib, and I just burst into tears. So the engineer, Bruce Sweetian, is sitting to my left, Andre Harris is to my right, and he kind of grips my shoulder like, I get how you feel right now. I mean, Bruce had been there, this is everything, Mike. This is Billie Jean, Mike. This is Bad, Mike. This is Remember the Times.
Yes.
This is everything. So he kind of grips my shoulder like, it's okay. You can let out your emotions. And I look to him and he gives me this look of reassurance as if to say, you know what, now let's go. And I'm like, all right, Mike, on the first verse, just give me really endearing breath into that first word. So all you've got to do. I said, feel these words as if it's the last thing you'll ever say to someone that you want to love. And when you press play on this song, that's exactly what it makes you feel like.
You're singing background?
Yes.
It's Marsha Ambrosius.
That's me right there.
Butterflies.
Da, 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 hey.
It puts the first verse in the perspective now, so I can't wait to hear his first words.
That's it.
There it is, y'all. Ambrosius.
Yes.
Hey, girl.
Ambrosius.
So
I love it.
here's the thing. You got brand new on your fans, so I have to ask about that. Because when you were with Floetry, Marsha, you were rocking this natural hairstyle. You were representing women of a certain size, and you really felt like this. This earthly kind of rootsy kind of girl, this all natural black girl. And so women felt like, yeah, that's my sister.
Right.
And then you flipped on us. You went and lost all this weight. You went and got your hair all dutied up. And
I pressed it for the album cover.
And so, women were just like, what's going on? So was that a conscious decision? Was that something you wanted to do? Was that something the record label wanted you to do? What happened in that transition?
Now, what you have to understand is, from getting a recording deal late 2000s, early 2001, I was never signed off of image. It was never, lose weight, change your hair, do this. I was always being myself. But over the course of that time, my fans were able to build with me. I went from a giant, it's back to the same color it was, but my giant red afro to flat twists, like natural before it was cool to be, woke, been woke. However, life comes at you fast. When I lost my grandmother, 2003, I was depressed. But when you're depressed in this industry, my outlet and avenue for that is just just to keep creating. So I was, but at the same time, I'm not eating anymore. So I'm slowly losing this weight. And I'm not doing it healthily. And I remember my mother calling me, asking me if I was okay. Because bottom line is I'm away from home. And I'm dealing with all of these issues alone, separately from my actual family. So when she called me and said she was starting Weight Watchers, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it with you. So I did Weight Watchers.
Your mother was
my mother was doing
Weight
it.
Watchers.
Yeah. So when we lost, her mother, my grandmother, we both did Weight Watchers, and I saw the weight coming off healthily. So it wasn't about being your very comfortable fat girl that was your homie that you're comfortable with because she's fat. Because I feel like that's how people were treating me. Like, oh, it's cool when you think I'm unhappy or not comfortable or not embodying who I am in my own skin. I was still very much Marsha, but trying to navigate myself around being in the industry. And they didn't care that my grandmother passed away. They cared about, we have this record that we have to promote and you have 2 shows coming up. I'm like, but my grandmother's funeral is next week. We'll do the show, we'll get you right off stage and you can go to the funeral. So it was very informal. And I was like, if my grandmother was someone, I don't want to name any names, I don't wish death on nobody, but if she was famous, she wouldn't treat me like this, I swear. So it was just kind of uncomfortable to realize that no one really cares about your real life. So you have to be happy. So by the time I've moved on from Flowetry and people are now seeing me as late nights and early mornings, I was at the peak of my goal weight. My album cover was my goal weight. So I shot that for me. I was like, Marsh, this is the Marsha you used to be. Right. Prior to getting to the United States and people seeing me as a part of Flowetry, I was always skinny. I didn't realize how skinny I was until I looked back at pictures when I thought I was fat. I'd always played basketball. I was athletic. I was eating what I wanted. So by the time I got an injury and I'm still eating as if I have, a game tomorrow.
You went to college on a basketball scholarship?
I was about to go to Georgia Tech and I tore ligaments and couldn't go. So I stayed overseas. I was playing for Women's Division 1 and England. So shout outs to Brixton Top Cats. That's our club, #1 still. And having gone through all of that, I just started to gain weight. So America got me at my, I quit. I was at my quit phase. But then I wanted to get healthy.
Do you think being in America made you gain weight? Because we are a very consumptuous
That sounds
country.
like I'm blaming you. But what I will say, it absolutely, it's excessive in its availability for a lot of food for a little amount of money. So I can't get a salad. Oh, God forbid a salad is on a $1 menu. But no, a cheeseburger is. So what am I going to go for?
So yeah, you can get two Big Macs for $1 all day.
I know. So there was
and
there
please
was a lot of
supersize the
that.
fries.
And I moved to Philly, so it was cheesesteaks. It was Lorenzo's, like giant. One slice of pizza is an actual whole pizza in the UK. So I was just eating because I was excited to be here, and it had nothing to do with anything but being happy with myself. And I was at my largest and at my smallest before I had a baby, after I had a baby, and it's okay to do it for you. I think people assume being in this industry, there are pressures. There are. If you conform to them, you absolutely should go for it. That's what floats your boat. But for me, it's never been about that. This is where I'm at in life now. I am Nyla's mother, red afro, all out, chilled, little fatigue t-shirt, my boyfriend jeans and my J's. What did we say? We wore ones today. Got our ones on today. And that's me. I've always been me for my fans. And to any woman that's ever felt uncomfortable or felt like they had to be away for anybody else, it all comes back down to you. It's you. What do you want? And this is what I want.
Are you happy now?
Oh my goodness. Like happy is such a happy word. Like to say, am I happy? Like happy. I'm over the moon. I'm beyond happy. I'm at a stage in my life where this is so, I don't know, with a daughter now, it's starting life all over again. I get to do life all over again. She hasn't seen the Goonies yet. I'm so hyped for her to see that for the first time. Star Wars, she doesn't know. Those things, I'm petty. They're the kind of things I want to do as a parent, sit there and watch my kid watch Poltergeist.
Yeah, that's a heck of a perspective. You get to do life all over again.
ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. It's very short. She doesn't know anything in between. She knows yes and no. All the explanations, nah. It's short and clear and concise, and I have to be that for her. So it's just an amazing experience. Amazing.
Love that you're happy now. We do want to talk about your transition from maybe not such a great time into being happy, but I want to play this song because I heard this song and I thought, okay. It's you and her.
Okay.
H-E-R?
Okay.
You did a song with her?
I did. You have it?
Lost Souls?
Wait. Why? How
That's
do you
not
have
you?
that?
That's not you?
There's a demo going around. I did a song with her called My Song.
Mm-hmm.
And we wrote it in New York. And I'd known her prior to her being her. And we'd been working together. I've been chilling with her family in Oakland every time I played Yoshi. So full circle come around, and to see where she's at now is just, finally.
Right.
Finally.
Is Marsha? Marsha's not on this song?
Yeah, it's just her and then someone else.
No, but there's a song that
It's called My Song.
Yeah.
Is that out?
Okay, that's not the song.
Well, I think I'm
That's
not
the
sure
song
if they
I thought I
released
had.
it yet. No, I think that was a SoundCloud upload, and everyone was hitting me like, "Yo, this got Marsha vibes," and I'm like, "Oh, I wrote it."
Okay, so then we're gonna take you all the way back, people, as we are in the studio live with Marsha Ambrosius. Let's take you back to Flowetry.
Mm-hmm.
Floetic.
Hey,
Yes.
getting it in. This is 18 years old though, so.
You're 18 years older, and so is the music. Does that sound like a different woman singing
That's
to you?
a whole other, very excited to be in Philadelphia. I was listening to a lot of D'Angelo. I'm singing a saxophone solo and they kept it in there. I just remember all the little things in the studio and they kept everything in there. 18 years ago, the song was recorded.
And you're still
2000.
singing, and you're still in the
know.
industry, and you still got music going, Marsha.
I know.
Marsha
It is
Ambrosius,
amazing.
everybody. So I have to talk about Floetry. You know, when you do interviews, you have to talk about Floetry.
And you know what? I've learned to embrace that. It literally used to make my shoulders like cringe, and I would shut down. But I recently tweeted, if I'm asked about my personal life, and anything of the past, I should answer, because it's relief and release for me. So go for it. Ask away.
Okay. I don't even know what to ask now. Look at that. Now I don't even
Go
wanna
for it, son. Ambrosius. That was the Ambrosius coming out.
Okay, so I think it was 2014, you said Floetry would never be together again. In 2016, you and Natalie, I think, decided to do
2015.
2015 decided to reunite again.
Yeah.
It's now 2018. Where are we?
So 2015, 2014, I said, 2015, I was in a different place in my life. I said, you know what? I've got to stop running from what I feel hurts and affects me. So I decided to forgive myself, forget past, and try and move on. So really, I came from a musical standpoint rather than trying to put all of my personal feelings into it. It was, you know what, Floetry was a great group. I would love to give the fans that back. I truly, truly would. And it made sense. The end of 2014, I'd gone home for a solo show, and we met for the first time in years. We hadn't seen each other since 2006. And it turns out that things, well, apparently to me, had changed and we could move forward. So I invited her to my show. We performed Floetic and literally
so the
still
two of
laugh.
you, just so we're clear, the two of you spoke and everything was all good and
At
good
that
enough to be
point.
like, hey, come stop through my show, sing a little ditty with me. Okay.
Absolutely. And the internet doesn't lie. I posted a pic of what we'd taken backstage and we talked. I went to one of her shows shows that she was doing somewhere else, sat with her family for a little bit, you know, just very still surface, but enough to go, okay, we've decided to reconnect. And I was okay with that. So the following year, my management, well, what used to be our manager, Jay Irving, you know, he was like, okay, if it's a go, I'm going to feel it out and see what we would like to go on tour. And we got offers. So we were like, okay, let's get a schedule together. And we were slated to go out June of 2015. In May, we did a Funk Fest in Atlanta, which is our first show since, December 06. And did that show, get on tour. And June of 2015, the Cavaliers were playing the Warriors and we're in Cleveland for show 1. And apparently I met who was now my husband in the elevator, but I wasn't paying attention because I was going to the game.
He remembers that.
He remembers that, clearly. But I was going to the game, so pay him no mind. So fast forward to attempting to reconnect. It was noted that things just couldn't change. When you've changed who you are as people, it's kind of difficult to just force feed this very surface friendship, because we weren't that, or what I thought we were as friends. We just weren't. So fast forward, a lot of bad things were said about me to my husband. Well, she wouldn't have known that because she did ask me, well, do you know Des? And I said no. So she's now told a lot of personal business to someone that should never have known these things about me. So with that said, it was clear that things just couldn't change. And I'm not faulting her for doing that then, because people have their own agendas, their own reasons. But the bottom line is they were said. I'm like, this is a tough pill to swallow, but it was also clear that that was okay for it to be closed now. It's closure. It's like, you will never have my best interests at heart. You will just never wish me well. And I'm a personal reminder that once Flowetry was no longer and I go on to do what I'm going to do, that's all you can see. And it's hard to reconcile with somebody that is removed. You know, you can go back overseas and tell your version of accounts, but everyone that remained over here that has their truth, it's like you trying to tell a lie in front of him, but you were here.
Right.
It's like everybody else was here. We saw what happened. So it's kind of difficult to reconnect friendships where if you've told one side of the story and now we are all forced into this one room because we've reconnected, you have people hating me for no reason.
Right.
And it's hard. It was difficult to try and cross those lines back with not only her family, but my family. It's like a lot of damage was done. So by the time we've done this tour, because it didn't affect the show, I can get on stage with my eyes closed and do a Flowetry show at any given moment, but that wasn't the point. It was the negative things said by my band to my husband, like, oh yeah, Marsh, she's done this, she's done that. Her then manager was a guy that I used to see back in the UK that I'd been intimate with. I'm like, I don't think that was done by accident either. I was like, this is just mean. I'm faced with a lot of personal issues that I shouldn't have had to, but I'm going to go for it because I'm about the people. I'm about trying to give this Flowetry thing back to you. And that tour worked. So come the 2016 where we're offered a little more this time. So it wasn't even I was like, there's no amount of money that can make me go through that again. But okay, fans, I know you want this. I'm going to go in the studio. I'm going to start recording. I'm going to start trying to picture what a new Flowetry would sound like.
So you all actually went back in the studio?
Oh, no, I did.
Oh, okay. I'm like, whoa.
I did. And that's how Old Times actually happened.
Okay.
And that's how a couple of the other songs that I did for my new album ended up happening, because it was with that closure in mind. Grand finale, I was like, all we have to do is tell the truth. And if you're not willing to do that, this makes absolute no sense. It's like being on Real Housewives of whatever, and then it cuts to you. And you know you're clearly lying. Everyone else was in the room. We saw what happened. We heard what you said. We can play this back. Like, Google doesn't lie. Type it in. And it was just a very awkward thing. But 1 week into that 2016 tour, we find out we're pregnant. So when I was here at the Wilton, I'm pregnant. And it's new and it's fresh and it's, oh my gosh, are you serious? I'm 5 or 6 weeks pregnant and we have 2 months more to tour. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to try and balance this. I'm scared, but I'm happy. I'm excited. Let's just keep this under wraps and continue this tour. So by the end of that tour, I had to disclose my pregnancy because initially I told everyone, look, no smoking on the bus, no excessive drinking, like keep it light. Like, what? I said, no, there's rooms for that. Go ahead and do that. But kept everything down to a minimum just for health reasons. And I almost threw up on row 1 and 2 in Pensacola, Florida, because morning sickness hit. Once it hit, it was, I'm really pregnant now. Like, it's happening. It's over with.
What a story they would have had to tell.
Oh, listen, like, what happened to Marsh? Like, so I kind of turned around and my drummer looked at me like, please don't throw up on me. So I kind of removed myself from the stage, but there was so many issues. There was IRS issues. The IRS is now seeing her name on, tax forms, like, oh, she's back. Oh, here she is. This is all the money that you didn't pay. Let's get her now. And they're waiting at the side of the stage, not to arrest, but they want answers. So I'm like, look, I've always been good with my money. I want no problems. And I remember in Anaheim, I stopped the show in the middle of getting late because they were talking about ceasing a lot of bread that had nothing to do with me. I was like, nah, we're going to fix this. That's not my problem. Let's keep it moving. So there was too many.
So there was money problems. There was backstabbing problems.
There was too many parts. But my issue is there were too many parts in 2015, 16, and and forward. I'm like, I'm trying to move on. I truly have tried to just keep this at a bare minimum, and there's not enough time in the day to explain all the personal reasons. So I think the rumors were easier to handle than what actually happened behind closed doors. Like, everyone, you were lesbians, you broke up because you broke up. And I'm like, okay.
Did you all have an intimate relationship?
I'm straight, been straight, and that's okay too. I've never had to hide who I am. I'm like, if I were a lesbian, I'm Marsha Ambrosius who makes that music. Like, There's nothing to hide behind this. So that always confused me. Like, why would I be on the down low? Like, why would this be a closet thing? I'm the most boisterous person in life anyway. So no, and that would never be somebody I would be with. But that was easier to handle rather than what was going on. There was depression. There was far away. It was about suicide that I had to make sure that she got to the hospital because she had an episode, and it's hard to be there watching your friend.
So Natalie almost committed suicide?
Natalie was in a very tough mental space, and it resulted in admitting to hospital. And I feel like I'm saying this because I had to witness that.
Right.
I had to be there as that friend, and that was as depressing as I've ever gotten. I think, I can say there's 2 points in my life where, I was like, I can't handle this. This is too much for me. So when it turns into that person then turning their back on you when you've been there and you've tried to nurture and you've tried to contain all of those emotions and promising that you won't disclose all of this information to close family and friends. Like, don't tell my mom, don't tell my dad, I'm loyal, so I'll hold my tongue. So when I do, anything could be said about what's going on. Any blame can be placed, but I always knew that the relationship she was in at the time was disturbing, to say the least. But it wasn't for me to call. It wasn't my call. Like, this your people. This is your man. So go for it. And you have to be that friend until it goes too far. And it went too far. But when you've chosen to stay, I went to the edge of a cliff and tried to jump with you is when I realized it was too much. I didn't want to die with you. I died with you and for you in friendship, and to the bitter end and coming full circle to like a 2015 reunion tour, and you still on the same manipulative, like straight negative vibe, all because there's a part of you that despises me. You can't change how somebody else feels about you, regardless of what you do.
You've had quite a bit of success as a solo artist. Do you think that played a part?
I'm not going to put anything on what someone else thinks. This is all for me. This is me admitting my ish. I can't say, it was because of this. All the guessing games is what has driven me crazy. Mm-hmm. That's what drove me to, you know what, Grammy week, alcohol, open bar, give me that entire tray. Maybe that will numb this, because I can silently be a functioning drunk and do that as a young woman in the industry with friends around me that kept and repressed that part of me for so long on the low. It's like, no, Marsha's a social butterfly. She turns up when need be, but I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. I wasn't celebrating anything. I was hurt. And I feel like we don't speak about it enough as an industry.
So, Marsha, was it the industry that hurt you, or was it literally Natalie that hurt you?
I'd say the industry couldn't hurt me, so I'd say it was the friendship and what happened. Because the industry part of it is knowing that we weren't a typical group. We weren't, these are two people that came together and we won America's Got Talent, and now, you know what I mean? Yeah. We're two friends that used to play basketball. Our parents know each other.
Yeah,
it was
go
that.
Way back.
So
yeah.
When two people have come into a situation exactly the same way, we signed the same deal. We got the same advance money. You have your publishing, I have my publishing. Regardless if I wrote Say Yes or Butterflies or If I Was a Bird, all the songs that I did write, I made sure it was us. I put Flowetry's name on anything. Even stuff I did outside of it was Marsha of Flowetry. Like features, I kept what I thought was us afloat. So I think with the pain came from how loyal I remained to it. And there's no fault. I can't even blame her for any way that she acted or anything that was said or done because of how she felt. I can't speak on that part. I can only tell you that I was not in a good space for a long time because of it.
So I wanted you to respond to, because at one point when you and Natalie were going through your thing, you switched up Natalie with Amanda Seales.
Oh, that was Amanda Seales happened prior to that. That was literally after the last official Flowetry show happened overseas, December 6th in 2006.
So that was when Amanda Seales replaced Natalie.
Yes. So Natalie is now.
Had you heard what Natalie said? I'm sorry. Had you heard what Amanda said?
Kind of, but not really. It's been in pieces. So, Amanda, if you're listening, bruh, it hit me. We've seen each other since. I don't know if there's anything negative or anything between us, but I had seen Amanda after the Flowetry, what would you call it? The Flowetry remix. So that's 2007. Natalie's manager had said to Jimmy Iovine and the record company, if Nat doesn't get a solo deal, we're walking. So they said, all right, cool, walk. And she walked. So now I'm left in a deal with Geffen, with Interscope, and they still want their bread. I'm still panicking, like I still have to provide for my family. So by ways of a mutual friend, Ryan Press, thanks Ryan, he says, I have a friend of mine, Amanda, we can kind of implement to doing the tour and see how you guys vibe. So 2 months prior to that last Flowetry show, officially in December 2006, I'm in the hospital with my friend going through some real things. I'm crying. Like I'm hurt in a way where I don't want to do this. I want to tell my family what's going on, but I can't tell her family. What if something happens? That blood is on me. That means it's my fault. So when I think she's actually taken things too far, I have to own that. So when Amanda's come into it, and, you know, Flowetry fans are ruthless, man. They were not nice to her.
That's what she said.
And it was 2-3 days into it, and I can't fault them for how they felt either. So yeah, they're looking at me like, who's this? And I have to take those bullets, not able to tell them what is actually going on. Right. So Amanda took a lot of hits for it was just an unfortunate position to be in. So by the time she's mad at me, I want to fight her, not for that, but because you have no idea what I've actually been through. So for you to be in tears and upset after 3 shows, I'm 6-7 years in of a lot of manipulative things that you have no reason to be mad about, bruh. So by the time we were going to fight that fight, I remember my manager getting to the show in Atlanta at center stage, and we were in this like little office like, yo, you two need to get over this. And we had the best show ever after that. And then we had a really great tour after that point. So when we finished the tour, I knew it was never going to be something that would be continued. I mean, I do have the demos, Pop a Bottle, Bonita Apple Bum. I still have This Too Shall Pass. Like, I have a lot of the songs that me and Amanda did back then with the initial premise that we were going to do something together. And it was unfair that we couldn't just do something together because Flowetry fans are diehard Flowetry fans. So it couldn't be Flowetry. Right. It would have just been something else. But I wasn't ready to disclose Flowetry being over the way that happened. Like, how do you tell publicly that, oh, hey, I'm just in the hospital. My friend is now depressed and they're trying to claim that she's suicidal and putting her on suicide watch. And I've put it on my back that I'm the focal point. I'm her main caregiver in the United States, so I'll take care of it. And I couldn't take care of it. And that hurt me to the core that I couldn't get over that part. So it was no fault of Amanda's. It was no fault of mine. It was decisions made because they were made and I can't take them back. But bottom line is 2012, I think Amanda and I see each other again in New York at a Dark and Lovely event. And it's just kind of seeing each other like, yo, that was crazy. And it was like, yep, it was absolutely insane. Yeah. And move on. I think the only reason why I brought it up is because, you know, lies are lies. And, you know, people were like, Marsha left the group and that's why you broke up. I said, how could I be the one that left if I'm lumped in the group with, you know, Amanda? Those lies don't go together. So if you tell one lie, you have to tell 20 more and keep going. So, I've absolutely poured my heart out into what is this Nyla album, telling the story of how it got from me being a solo artist, me being out here thinking I've got it all figured out and all of these friendships and all of this loyalty and all of the things that I'm attempting to hold on to having to actually let go and let go for all my own, I say selfish reasons, but it's okay to be selfish. It's about being about yourself.
Absolutely.
Ish. Like, I think people don't empower that. They don't embody that. And if you do it enough in a positive light, it will change your life. I changed my life just by standing up for myself. And it's hard to do in this industry where everything is at others' discretion. You have to do it because of agendas, or you have to do it on a Monday at 5:00 on this particular social platform. There are so many reasons why we do or we don't. I think I've just now managed to be in a space where I can say, you know what? I'm good with me. And
you said you're happy now. We want to talk about old times. I want to talk about that video next.
Yes.
We're back with Marsha Ambrosius.
What they say, they so true.
Radio Free 102.3 KJLH. We're live in studio with Marsha Ambrosius.
Hey, Ambrosius.
Hey. Ambrosius.
Yes, Nyla was actually born to that song, to Lion.
Born meaning you were having birth or
to this
meaning
song.
You conceived?
No, I didn't conceive to it. She was born to this. So we had it on repeat in the background, and it just so happened to happen when it happened. So she knows this song for real. It's like, oh, mama.
Oh, I was coming out of all that water.
Yeah. Oh, it was beautiful though, right up the street.
So I asked Marsha. I said, "Is Nyla from the States?" She said, "Yeah, right up the street."
Yeah, she was definitely born up the street. True story. I was living here in LA at the time, and my doctor was here, so we toured the country up until delivery. Well, up until the baby shower, which was November 12th, because my due date was December 12th. And then I was proposed to at my baby shower. Surprised. I'm like, I don't know how I was so surprised by that. I don't know how we pulled that off. It was the most amazing proposal ever. And a month after that, she was like, I'm chilling. And then went to Cedars and was admitted.
What made the proposal amazing, though?
Okay, so shout outs to Candace. His sister were putting together this entire video for the people that couldn't make the baby shower. So it was everyone from like all my friends and family overseas. even my basketball coach, Jimmy Rogers. It was crazy. She put together this entire video clip. So we're watching it, and I'm emotional anyways. I was crying just watching my people wish me well and like happy for the baby. And she made us record little tidbits that we wanted to say to each other about becoming new parents and about, something to say to Nyla. So I'm like, look, I can't wait for you to get here. Like, we're all excited to see you, blah, 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 blah. So it gets to his video, and Des is saying all of these really beautiful, endearing things about us. And he says, before, you become the mother of my child, there's something else I want you to be. And then the video cuts off, and then Say Yes started, and he gets down on one knee, and I cried for, what was that, like 45 minutes? Yeah, we kind of had to edit the video. Like, someone was like, all right, we're just going to give him a break. She's going to crash. She's going to stop any minute now. And I just didn't. I couldn't get it together. It was such a beautiful moment and so emotional and just so perfect. And clearly I said yes.
Oh, yeah, clearly you said yes. How many years you've been married now?
Almost one. Almost a year. So November will be 1 year.
And then Nyla will be 2 in December.
Yeah.
What a lovely family you have. Oh, so we're going to come back. I have a thing that I do, Marsha. It's called Everybody's a Hater. So when we come back, Marsha is going to play Everybody's a Hater, all right?
Okay.
KJLH. It's Tammi Mac and Marsha Ambrosius. Hey. Before we get to the final questions of the day, Marsha, the video, the song Old Times it's kind of romantic. It's about romanticizing about relationships of the past, but the video takes a completely different turn when you acknowledge and pay homage to the Black Lives Matter movement, specifically Trayvon Martin and the Skittles.
I mean, there were a few references that I wanted to portray in the Old Times video.
The cell phone,
and there were so many hashtag RIPs that happened over a course of time. It was like we were having mini funerals for people that we didn't know, but now they look like us, and you relate to it in a way where you're so fearful that it's getting so close to home. When would it be someone close to home? So with Old Times, the narrative in the song lyrics, they're not so far from the actual video. So I just want you home for dinner, but you're just out hustling for a living. You got to do what you got to do to feed the children. And I'll be here waiting for you to come home when those red and blue lights flashing. And I pray, oh, please, just please come home.
Yeah.
That's verse 1, but that was literally what I felt as a wife and mother. Now, it's one thing to worry, period, but as a wife and mother now, I wanted to portray in this video the normalcy of what it feels like to be a Black mother in 2018, waiting at home for your husband to just return. And it's, all right, I sent you a text, you didn't hit me back. Okay, what if the police pulled you over? But hopefully you were compliant. And then I realized how many excuses I'd made in my head before it was something on a tabloid or a headline that I'd read already, and that fear in the pit of your stomach where you worry anyway as a parent. So now it was just a bit deeper, and I've always lent social commentary to not only my music but my visual, because that's what I do. But it was only right that I did it again with this one.
Yeah, it was amazing. It gave me chills to see that.
Thank you.
I like, but I also like how you reversed it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, it's the possibility
because he came back home,
thankfully,
to you.
And I just really had to, the thoughts in the back of my head, having met Trayvon Martin's mother, and it's just the ones that didn't make it, and what that actually means and what we're trying to fight for. And I'm like, I've always said something and should, so why stop here? So Old Times truly is an acknowledgement of all of those things.
And since we going down that road, I'm sure you've heard the story of Botham Jean, the young brother in Dallas. They're now kind of trying to make a mockery of him. Like, even when Black men get murdered, we put them on trial. And so now they're saying, oh, but he had weed in his house, and they've done a search on his house. Okay, so he had a small amount of weed. What on earth does that have to do with anybody walking into his home, shooting and killing him point blank? That's ridiculous.
Nothing. It has absolutely nothing, and it's ridiculous. But it's that's what happens. But I think where we take the power back and must is what you've done is created this very normalized version of what the other side of it looks like. You've made me afraid of every normal white person walking. So her, she could kill me. You've made that very normal. So no, it doesn't have to be an outrageous mugshot, and I don't have to know how much drugs she was on or how much wine she drank or how many people she'd shot prior to that. You've just made this very normal story a horror movie for me. So it's looking at it from that perspective too. Yes, they try to desensitize us all and make it like, he had weed in the house. It's his house. He can have anything in his crib.
You can have weed
his crib.
In your house.
You could have had anything in that house. It was his house. And there's so many holes to the story. So I don't know everything about what really transpired, but the bottom lines are the bottom line. She walked in his crib and killed him. Those are facts. I don't care about the gray areas. So to make out that he was
doing anything, something,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Right? I tried to come up with, like I said, even with old times, the amount of excuses I tried to make for it to be almost okay for someone else to make a decision on your behalf. It's not fair. So you can only stand for what you stand for, and we got to fight, man.
Well, thank you so much for the conversation today. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Thank you for being on the Tammi Mac Show. This is my first time talking to you, and it was certainly a pleasure, Marsha Ambrosius.
I was only supposed to be here for 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
No. No, I said you have absolutely all of my time, and we were coming here to, personally deliver the new album, Nyla. I mean, I know it's released September 28th, but, I'll make sure that you get it now.
Thank you.
But for everybody else, yes, it's September 28th. And it's just, we've got to start speaking about how we feel without the excuses of, how would it make somebody else feel if I said how I felt? You have to let that part go. It's got nothing to do with anybody else, but about what you want to do in your life. It will free you up of a lot of heartache and burden, not worrying about what somebody else thinks. You've got to let go of some things, man. And I truly did on this album, and I can't wait for everybody to get it.
We can't wait to get it. I'm going to download it. It's September 28th.
Yep, you can pre-order it right now.
I will be downloading.
Yes, you can go to marsha.net. Of course. And you'll see my tour dates. I'm going on tour with Maxwell, 50 intimate nights
Maxwell
across
will
the
be
country.
here.
Yep.
So you're going to be here with Maxwell?
Yep, I'll be there. November, so that's about to be the sexiest show you've ever seen.
Yes, I want to go.
And you can go to marsha.net and click tour dates, and the meet and greet package is up, so you can click Meet Marsha, and we can do the sound check together and come to the show, and it's gonna be crazy. And the album will be out by then, so I'm just gonna get on the piano and just go for it.
All right. So before you get out of here, we got to play this game. It's called Everybody's a Hater. All right.
Oh gosh, go.
So here we go. So what food do you hate?
Peanut butter.
Not a peanut butter fan.
No.
What song that everybody loves do you hate?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
It's tough. Skip.
Okay, we're gonna pass that one. Who did you hate in high school? Who was your arch nemesis in high school?
There were these two sisters. Didn't hate them. I was just very afraid of them. They were in a year, I think 2 years older than me, Natasha and Zoe, and I was afraid of them. I did not look forward to seeing them when I got to Charles Overbrook. Swear, don't pass me in the hallway, please. Don't make eye contact. I'm okay. It's not their fault.
What do your parents do that you hate?
Call me at the most awkward time. Oh my gosh, I'm on the West Coast. It's 8 hours. 8, not 5. I'm not on the East Coast. Don't call me when I'm...
So your family's still in the UK?
Yes. So it's the 8-hour difference that really kind of affects us. So we're either talking to each other as they're waking up or as I'm going to bed, and trying to find that time in between.
What does Des do, your husband?
Oh, what doesn't he
that
do?
hates you, that you hate?
Okay, so he'll go to tell me a story, and he'll be like, he will tell me the story, the intro of it for 5 minutes, and I just quit on what he's going to say midway, and then I'll say, what did you say? because I just tuned out after he didn't say what he was going to say for 5 minutes.
And here's the last one. Think about this very long, very hard, Marsha.
Okay.
Think about this. What do you do that you hate?
There's several things. I'll definitely oh my gosh, can I say that on air? Yeah, you can say Never mind. No, we can't. Sorry, babe. I hate that I snore a little bit. But I hate.
Let me ask, is it a little bit?
No. I don't snore throughout the night, but when I'm extremely tired, I'll do this thing where I sleep with my mouth wide open and I wake myself up snoring like, and I'll laugh because it's funny. I hate it, but I can't stop doing it. I hate it. Everything else is too explicit. So,
so the album drops
September 28th. Pre-order now, and you can get this song, Old Times. You can get Laya, that Nyla was born to, and another sexy song called Flood. So, yep, go get it.
Thank you for rocking with me, Marsha.
Thank you for having me.
It's Radio Free 102.3 KJLH.